Thanks for coming here to the Court on the Street. Now, he may not have any professional comedy experience, but that doesn't stop him from trying his best to make you laugh. His jokes may not always land, but his enthusiasm and charming personality more than make up for that. He isn't just a one-trick pony, though. He's also a great conversationalist, loves to engage with his other hosts, and is always eager to learn and share. So if you're looking for a podcast that's lighthearted and easy to listen to, he may not be the most polished or professional, but he sure will bring a smile to your face. And for just 420 payments of $69.69, you just can't beat this price, host Vince. No, I will not make out with you. Did you just hear that? This host over here wants me to make out with him in the middle of a recording. You got Chlorophyll Man up there talking about God knows what, and all this host can talk about is making out with me. We're here to entertain. Now, go on with your Borophyll or Chlorophyll. Man, can you guys believe that your pupil host Josh just asked me that? Oh, hey, Josh.
That might be your most ambitious swing yet, and I love it.
Yeah, that's too... You know what? This episode is going to be, in a lot of ways, just a rehash of last episode, because I did an Adam Sandler intro for you last week, too.
Yep. That was good. That was real
So what's
good.
up? How you doing today?
Oh, just enjoying my last day off before the new week starts. Preparing for the holiday season. Christmas season is upon us, as you know better than anyone.
Oh, yeah. We're getting real close now.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, can't complain. How about you?
Yeah, all about the same as last week. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Time just moves so slowly.
So slowly, but so fast.
Yep. I know. I feel differently, though. I've heard like people since like COVID started saying like, oh man, this time's just going so fast. These past 2 years feel like they've taken a decade to me.
Oh no, they seem like they've flown
like
by
for real.
Me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that just yet.
I think I've been way less active, so that's probably why for me. Like I just haven't done as many.
Sure. Yeah, my life like didn't quite change. It's almost like everybody else's life sped up and my life stayed the same. So
yeah,
like it's just been weird, but we do what we can. Have you come up with a fun fact for this episode, or are we just letting that go now? I'm capable of letting it go.
I think we're letting it go. Cool.
I can appreciate that. I'm not trying to force you into anything, except I did force you into it to begin with.
Your fun fact is that I'm no longer doing fun facts.
Cool. All right.
The fun fact is that they weren't fun and I ran out of them.
Yeah, fun facts. It's hard to make fun facts fun.
Yeah.
In it. All right. So I guess we'll just go ahead and move into our episode of Word on the Street, where I, Vince, and Josh over there,
hello,
we each pick one word from the week's worth of words from the puzzle word game Quirtle. There's 28 of them. We each pick one. You know how it works. These words come from some week. Time is a flat circle, and I go first this week. So my word that I chose this week is prong. And again, just rehashing last week's episode, doing a draft. We're drafting utensils.
Drafting utensils.
Yes.
Oh man, this could be interesting.
Oh yeah, it will be.
It's got some kind of flair to it.
No, it's just straight up utensils. Which utensils are best? Which utensils are either best or you can't live without, or like there's some utility to them. However you feel like ranking these utensils, you rank them. All right.
Okay.
Usually when we pick drafts, the opponent goes first. So yeah. It's all you.
It's all me.
Yeah. What are you taking? Number one.
Number one in the utensil draft. Oh man. I mean, I gotta take the spork.
Don't fuck it up. The spork. Whew. Big swings right out the gate.
Yeah, I mean, you just have
Why
to.
the spork?
So much utility.
How often have you used a spork?
Pound for pound utility. You know what? A lot more like pre-made, prepackaged cutlery from like takeout places have sporks now. Like it used to be always,
for real?
you used to be like, here's a fork and a spoon and a knife in it, and now it's just like, here's a napkin and a spork, and I fuck with it.
Wow.
Because no matter what the situation,
is it at least a spife?
No,
where it's got like one sharp edge on it, so you could cut. It's also a knife.
No, but I'm rarely getting things that I need a knife with.
Okay, sure.
I kind of have like this weird thing. If I need a knife, I'm not getting it for takeout.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
It's like I have some people that I know that like order steak and stuff to go or for pickup, and I'm like, nah,
fucking wild men.
That ain't me. Like if I have to use a knife for it, I'm gonna be at home and making it myself.
Yeah, right. All right. I'm taking the spoon, just the straight up spoon. Specifically, though, the big spoon.
The big spoon. I mean,
yeah, you know, like
the one that lets you get the perfect amount of cereal.
There is no situation
that the little
other
spoon
than
wins.
Stirring my tea that I would use the little spoon over the big spoon for.
Yep.
Like there's nothing that I use a spoon for that I don't want more of it in my mouth.
I'm clipping that.
You know what I mean?
I'm clipping that and removing the spoon portion of it. I'm just gonna clip I want more of it in my mouth and put that as a fucking thing on my mixer.
It'll be your ringtone.
Yeah. Every time you text me, I want more of it in my mouth.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that would be good. Oh, man.
You're the one that was asking me to make out with you, so I don't know.
Hey, I mean, I think you're the one that came up with that, so you wanted me to make out with you. You were hoping I would
Adam Sandler wants us to make out.
Oh, man. Number 2.
Yes.
Utensil.
Best real utensil. Come down to earth, fucking spork-ass motherfucker.
Hey, spork is a great utility utensil, man.
Yeah, I'm teasing. I respect the spork.
I'm gonna have to go with the steak knife.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, you can really do just about anything you need to do with a knife with it. You know, the butter knife, you're kind of, limited. But the steak knife, like I can cut steak. I can cut bread. It's not ideal, but I could do it. You know, you can cut the cheese. You can cut whatever you need with a steak knife.
Cut the cheese. Good one. Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. It's a lot of utility to it, but I'm gonna keep going straight down the middle here.
He's taking fork. Knew that was coming. See, I got your 2 out of the way with my 1, so it was just perfect.
No, you can't. It's the Japanese philosophy here. Why take a utensil that can do 2 things okay when you can take 2 utensils that do their respective tasks perfectly?
Space. I only have to carry one thing. Efficiency.
Oh, so you're picking based on your EDC.
Yeah, everyday carry. Give me a spork.
Hand forged spork.
Spife. Titanium alloy with Damascus inlay.
Drop forged. For the man. For the man's utensils needs.
A tiger wood and ebony and resin poured handle.
My Carta, snake in my Carta.
Snake skin and walrus tusk handle.
Perfect for cutting your kangaroo jerky.
Oh, man. Number 3. So we're talking like all utensils, anything in the kitchen. Not
utensils.
Not just what we are technically eating with. Huh.
Sure.
I'm going to take... Oh, man. I'm going to take a chef's knife.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, that'll let me prep whatever I need to prep. You know, prepare some cuts of meat by cutting the fat off that needs to go, or chopping some onion, or doing what I need to do.
This is the one exception. This is the one exception to the like a particular tool doing a particular thing that I will take. A chef's knife really does do everything just about perfectly.
Oh yeah. An 8 to 10 inch chef knife is just perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have been seeing a lot of people on TikTok using cleavers though, and a cleaver looks like
they look
a good
intriguing. They just look cool.
Yeah, they do. Maybe they look cooler than they actually are to use, but
yeah,
like if you're doing a lot of chopping, I can imagine that getting tiring.
I just don't see them being as efficient because you can, with the curve of the blade on the chef knife, you can rock so much easier. So I think you're right. After like over a period of time, it would definitely become substantially harder to use that.
Yeah, probably. You're just like buying into the carpal tunnel.
Yep.
All right, number 3 for me, right? I'm taking chopsticks.
Good choice.
I've really come to appreciate the chopsticks.
See, I'm an American loser, and I'm not good with them.
I mean, I'm an American loser too, and I learned how to use them, and I'm like, you know what? These are kind of great. I cook with them now, and like I need to get a longer pair to actually cook with, like for real.
You cook with them as like
I eat chips with them
to like taste things.
No, just to stir. They're like the perfect stirring utensil because they don't get in the way of other things.
Yeah,
you almost want to use what is in the pot or pan to stir the rest of the stuff that's in the pot and pan.
Yeah,
and the real pro move with chopsticks is chips or I don't know, Cheetos, whatever, stuff that you want to keep doing other stuff. Yeah. Like it's a pro move using chopsticks to eat Cheetos. My wife looks at me like I am raising the dead every single time I use chopsticks to eat Cheetos.
I mean, that seems way too much, like way more work than I would want for eating Cheetos, but I understand the concept.
Okay. The work of like learning how to use chopsticks, fine. But once you learn how to use them, there is no more work, and it's almost easier to use chopsticks because you can't
take a handful of Cheetos out with a chopstick.
Who's eating a handful of Cheetos at a time?
Me, 100%. I'm not eating one Cheeto at a time.
You put more than one Cheeto in your mouth at a time?
Yeah, I need coverage.
That's wrong. I
need coverage.
Wow.
Yeah,
coverage
I'm taking like
Cheeto. A Cheeto
like 3 or 4.
Explodes in your mouth. It covers half a Cheeto will explode and cover the entirety of your mouth.
Oh, I'm a 3 or 4 per.
Wow.
Now, like Pringles.
That's something.
Those I eat one at a time. Doritos, one at a time.
Oh, Pringles are 2 at a time for me.
That's weird.
They just dissolve. You put them in your mouth, they immediately dissolve.
He got acid tongue. He's just dissolving Pringles.
No, you're the one that's like Cheetos don't coat your mouth unless you get 4 of them.
Yeah, no, I just want more flavor. But
okay, let's get off of controversial topics. Okay. Have you tried peanut butter puffs yet?
Peanut butter puffs?
Yeah, they're like cheese doodles, like the puffed corn thing, but they have peanut butter dust on them.
No, those sound fucking amazing.
They're really great. They have no Wegmans out here. I don't know if there's like a national brand that's making them yet. Wegmans definitely has them. Trader Joe's definitely has them.
Oh, we don't have Wegmans or Trader Joe's near me.
I know.
So I'll tell you
we don't have Trader Joe's either.
I'm going to make a trip to the store tomorrow, and if not, I'm going to need a delivery of peanut butter puffs when you're back here for Christmas.
Yeah, okay, I can appreciate that. That's your Christmas present.
Just throw me a bag of peanut butter puffs as you drive by to get back on the throughway.
It's not a bad idea.
Oh man, I can only imagine.
I think we're probably staying over. Wait, can we?
No, you have to work.
Yeah.
Really? Don't you?
Yeah. Monday is observed Christmas, and then my day off is Tuesday. So yeah, I think we're staying over till Tuesday. I guess depending on what Nicole has to do that day, we'll see. Either way, yeah, maybe I'll just drop one of those bags of shits off at
that sounds
at
amazing.
Your place. Yeah, they're good. Dry your mouth out like a motherfucker, but good.
Have you melted chocolate to dip them in?
Whoa, that's so good!
Right?
What an idea!
Like
he's a trailblazer, ladies and gentlemen.
Just get you like a tub of Nutella and put some of it in a bowl and in the microwave, and then you just dip that in. Oh,
I'm going to Wegmans tomorrow.
oh, that sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing. I always got Nutella on deck in this house, so I'm
like
definitely trying that tomorrow.
It's like Reese's cups, but with texture, like the crunch. Oh, I'm getting body shivers thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Okay. Utensils. We're taking utensils.
I just want to take peanut butter puffs. I don't care about utensils anymore.
Yeah. Man.
My fourth pick.
Your fourth pick.
I'm gonna have to take tongs.
Ooh, that was gonna be my pick.
Tongs are just very versatile. You can use them on the grill. You can use them to flip a steak. It's almost like you can replace a spatula with those in a lot of scenarios, and they do it better.
You know what? This may be a hot take, but spatulas are overrated.
I know, I'm 100% behind you with that. Spatulas, I feel like, are like the perfect utensil that you watch your mother cook with, and then you realize as you get older, you're like, man, these things fucking suck.
Yup.
You're like, this is like the shitty sport of kitchen utensils. Like
it kind of does everything poorly.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4. I'm taking the ladle.
That is another really good choice.
Sometimes you just got to get liquid out of that pan.
Oh man, when you need that extra starch water from your pasta.
Oh yeah. I overlooked the ladle for years.
Oh, it's so good.
The ladle is it.
I'm gonna take.
All right, ladle. What you got? Your final pick.
I'm trying to think exactly what it's called.
What it's called? You don't even know?
Okay. It is steel spider.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah, spider.
That's what I was just seeing if that was the correct term. So in my brain, I was like, spider. That's what it's called. Yeah, I'm taking that. It is the perfect thing.
It's like a wide sieve.
Yep. You could perfect for taking things out of, like when you're deep frying them, or it's really really good for like ravioli, like when you're boiling ravioli or something like that, and it gets rid of the need for a colander.
You know what else makes these things really great? They're incredibly underrated. You can almost always find a spider at Goodwill.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? I appreciate most of them have a bamboo handle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like that.
Yep. All right, for me, number 5, I'm going whisk.
It's a good choice. That almost made it into my 5th spot, but I use the whisk less now because I have an electric one.
Okay, like a hand mixer.
Yeah, well, I have like a frother that I use for some smaller stuff, and then I have a hand mixer, and then I actually have a big like stationary mixer that I use too.
Nice. Yeah, I think the whisk, just like the ladle, is something that I overlooked for like a long time. But like scrambling eggs with a fork sucks.
Yep, nowhere near as good.
People will be like, "Oh, you're dirtying another utensil." And I'm like, I don't give a shit.
What I bought it better. For.
Yeah.
People are acting like it's 1980 and we don't have dishwashers.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh no, you're dirtying another utensil. That's one more thing I have to put in a slot in the fucking machine that washes it for me. Like, no.
Because if you have to hand wash a whisk, they suck to hand wash.
Yeah.
But like, you know what solves that? Get a couple whisks.
Yep.
Like, they're not that expensive either. You could probably find those at Goodwill too.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our, I guess, top 10. Yours is spork, steak knife, chef knife, 2 knives, bold, tongs, and spider. Mine is way more, it's just standard. Spoon, but specifically big spoon, fork, chopsticks, ladle, and whisk. I think these are respectable.
Those are very respectable. Lists.
Any runners up, honorable mentions?
You know what? I really like a good. What the hell's the name for it? Like the chopper, like the thing that you see them use.
Chop.
Yeah, I know. Thing they use to like chop cheese. It's like just like a straight blade with a handle, basically.
Oh, sure, cheese slicer.
Yeah, like a cheese slicer
Yeah.
almost. Like I use that all the time. So many
Yeah,
good,
sure.
like uses for it. Whether you're breaking stuff up or using it to transfer like cut up vegetables from the cutting board to the pan, like that's
Oh,
so nice.
like hmm, a bench scraper.
Yeah, bench scraper basically.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
love
I
a bench scraper.
I had like a list here, so I'll give my honorable mentions as peeler and grater. Those are my like way down the list backup choices.
Garlic press.
Yeah, sure.
Or what's the fucking word for it? God, my brain is shut off today.
Yeah, for real.
Microplane.
Oh yeah. I would consider that grater. A grater. But the microplane is great, like to zest citrus.
Yeah,
makes it so easy.
Citrus
All right.
juicer is really good too. Like a lemon lime.
All right, I want to go ahead and move on. Okay, so that's it for my topic.
Okay.
I do have a loose end. Is there anything else that you want to say on the topic before we move on?
No, I think we covered all the basis of the kitchen.
Okay. For my loose end this week, I have a confession.
Oh, of a teenage drama queen?
Yes, that's me. I am a teenage drama queen.
That makes sense.
My confession is that this episode was written by AI. My intro and my list for utensils, that's AI, baby.
Yeah?
I've been trying to think of a way to do this for like a couple of weeks now, ever since ChatGPT hit like open beta, right? Where people can actually just use it. But man, ChatGPT is like scary good.
Huh.
And I know that you're, design, so I figured, this is a topic that we should hit at some point because I'm sure you've got a lot of feelings about AI generated art and stuff like that.
No, I think it's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I really do. Like, I understand some people, but like, there's still nuance. Like,
sure.
An AI can only take things that have already been done and make derivatives of them. So like, it's never going to create like its complete own art piece.
Well, isn't that specifically people's issue with it? Is that it's essentially just copying other people's art? It's plagiarizing without credit.
Yeah, but so are a lot of other artists.
Okay, sure.
You know what I mean? Like people draw inspiration for other things, and nobody that values art and that's going to pay for an actual like piece of artwork what an artist want is going to use this anyway.
Right. So I guess that's like the line that people are drawing, right? Like I understand that, but I have a friend at work, Tito. He has a friend who is a corporate artist. I think he works for like Anheuser-Busch or something like that. And he's afraid that it's going to take his job. And frankly, specifically in that situation, it may be something that he should be afraid of. There's always going to have to be someone to review art before it goes out.
Yeah. It just depends on what he's responsible for making.
Okay.
Like, because that's the thing. It's not making composition and doing all these things. So like he's not designing something. So unless he's just like drawing a picture to put on a holiday card that they're sending out, like it's just an image. It's not creating design compositions.
Oh, I see where you're coming from.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something cool to look at, but it doesn't know how to do things for purpose. So it's like, I don't think you could just be like, hey, make me a poster and take these things into account for hierarchy and make sure that there's enough balanced white space and that there's symmetry between the size of the objects and make sure that this is the focal point. Like maybe it could get there eventually, but
do people understand that? I mean, you have client experience, right?
No, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't know. It's not going to put words behind it. It's just an image at this point. So unless he's literally just making an image,
right? Well, it's not him, right? He wouldn't be the issue. It's not the artists that are the issue here. The artists aren't. They may use it as a tool to enable them to do other things, but it's the people who don't understand the art that may start abusing it. His bosses, may see that they can type in, you know, cool Clydesdales stomping on some beer cans, and they'll just like throw some 3D clip art on there.
We are 10 to
And be like,
15 years away from any of that
okay,
mattering
okay,
because,
sure.
I mean, here's the simple thing is this kind of what I talk about at work a lot. You know, we used to be in this, you know, like the Mad Men style era where everything was gate kept. You were paying for access.
Okay.
Where you're not anymore. Most, like these big clients, they could hire their own teams of designers and have in-house people that do everything. But most of them hire agencies and stuff because that they know that their time is spent better elsewhere. So they do not give a fuck. So even if this technology is available, they're not going to be the ones to use it. Now they might hire a firm that might use that. So then he just goes and works for the firm. So like it might.
I gotcha.
His job may shift, but I don't see it going away.
Yeah. And this is kind of where I'm at on it too. Like people it's almost a moral panic at this point, right?
Yeah.
And it's very similar to the moral panic that people had around automation way back when like robots started coming into factories and automation threatened to get rid of people's jobs, right? Yep. And none of that ever panned out. Efficiency went up, and you know what happens? Like now we have more people and more jobs. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, this is just going to be another automation, right?
Well, and it's like there would be, so say it does take a lot of his work where it can do a lot of his work.
Right.
You're still it's going to be a skill to be good, to know how to create the prompts to get the AI to give you what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. And that leads me on from AI art to just this. Are you familiar with this project, OpenAI's chatbot?
No.
Okay. I'm surprised that you haven't heard of it. Now, it is like, it's actually incredible. I heard about it first on Linus Tech Tips. He was doing his podcast, and they were talking about it, and it can do like so much stuff. It can write scripts. It can write code, which works. And it's like incredible. So they were like talking about it, and I'm like, okay, well, let's do sponsor spots. And then they go, wait, hold on. We're going to let ChatGPT write our sponsor spots this week. So they write in, like, write me a sponsor spot for Squarespace. And he just read it straight off the screen. He was screen sharing, so you could see his screen. Read it straight off. It was fucking perfect. He read the one that they sent them afterwards, and the AI was better.
Yeah, so now, I didn't know about ChatGPT, like the OpenAI
ChatGPT.
But I wonder if it's the same stuff. So there's a service called Jasper now it's called, but it was Jarvis before. And it's specifically like an AI thing used in marketing. So writes blog posts, scripts, you know, social media, dialogue, all that stuff. I've been toying around with using it at work. So I've been writing scripts recently for commercials. And I use that for like prompts. So I'll throw in like some key phrases or words and things that I want it to include and let it spit out a bunch of different ideas or paragraphs. And then I'll read through those and like weave things together to make it actually be good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've done the same thing for blog posts, like articles.
So this is, I kind of like that, but it's way more general, I would say. The thing that makes this special is that it was trained on the internet. But they also apparently have actually made a good moderation engine in it, so it doesn't just immediately turn into a Nazi.
Oh, that's good.
But like it's trained on the internet. So, and it's a thread also. That is the other thing that makes it special. It's a thread. So like I write an infomercial where you're selling the host of a comedy podcast, right? And it starts, "Hello and welcome to the best infomercial you'll ever see. Are you tired of boring, unentertaining podcasts? Well, look no further. The solution is the funniest host of comedy podcasts around. Meet John, the mastermind behind the mic with years of experience in stand-up comedy." And I'm like, okay, that's not me, right?
Yeah.
So I type in, "Try again. The host has not done stand-up comedy and is much more mediocre." And I had to edit it, obviously, but it spit out exactly what I read at the beginning of the episode.
What is the website for this?
I am linking it in the Discord now. You have to sign up, and sign up for a personal account because it is limiting the professional accounts that it's letting, which is weird. It also hits capacity quite a bit because a lot of people are using it. But there's a lot of concerns about this one too. Students are starting to find it and use it to write their essays for them. And people who write code for a living have been using it to write code. It writes fairly competent code, which has led to, I think, Stack Overflow outright banning the use of AI-generated code.
Yeah.
Because it can be very confidently wrong about things too. But it's incredible. And I guess their next model that they're training for, this runs on a model called GPT-3. Tom Scott has a video on it where he trains it on his videos and then has it try to write a video for him. But GPT-4 is apparently going to have a 700 times larger data set to be trained from.
Oh.
And that is going to be where shit really starts to get interesting, because it's this thing passes the Turing test. You could chat with this thing and be convinced that it's a person, especially because as long as you keep the same thread, you can start a new thread and start a new conversation. But if you keep the same thread, it remembers the whole thread and can call back to things that it said earlier.
Mm.
I mean, it's an incredible thing. And then, yeah, code, I guess, is incredible, because the co-host on the Lions Tech Tips WAN show runs a video platform, Floatplane.
Yeah.
He was just running some code on their dev channel just to see how competent it was. And he was like, you know what? Maybe half the time it was basically perfect. Now, it depends on the complexity of the code he was running it and a specific thing, but it was taking plain text and converting it into code. He was like, write me a script that can do this, that, and the other. And then it just does that. It's really incredible what people are doing with this. I would highly recommend following programmers in particular who are using this and just seeing how well people are doing it. There's one programmer who made a joke, though. It was like, I used to spend 6 hours writing code and then 6 hours debugging it. And now I spend 6 seconds writing code and 24 hours debugging it. But that was he was a coder for one of the social media platforms, I think. Yeah. And he was just making a joke, but
that's good though.
Yeah, this is really incredible technology. This feels like a turning point. This particular model feels like a game changer.
I'm sure we
to the point where platforms are actually starting to address it.
Yeah, it'll definitely need to be used. I mean, that's the thing, is everything can be abused, but it also provides it opens up a lot of doorways for people to focus on other things.
Right. So that was sort of their takeaway from it. Programmers with this seem much less concerned than artists with whatever Midjourney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just going to increase their efficiency. It's such an overworked sector already.
Yeah.
That being able to offload some of that into automation is going to help the industry as a whole.
That's how I see it.
Any company that tries to take advantage and let the AI write their code and get rid of coders,
it's going to have a ton
because
of problems.
They think they don't need them. Yeah, it's just going to fuck them over.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to end up rehiring all the ones that they laid off.
It can only learn from things that humans have already figured out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it has to
And
learn from something it has to learn from a problem that somebody else has already given it the answer to.
right. And I think coding is like the perfect application for that because it's all rules.
Yeah.
People are doing the job of the robot that they're building.
Yeah.
Before the robot starts to do that job. So,
Yep.
But yeah, this is an interesting topic. I've been looking for a way to talk about it for
That is really
like
good.
a couple weeks now, and finally found it.
Yeah, I've been messing around with and using Jarvis/Jasper for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And just like I said, it's not as in depth as Chat GPT. It doesn't sound like. It's more like you give it prompts and it spits out like multiple options of things.
Yeah, right.
You can pay for a version that's probably more close to this, and like you could just get it to write a whole blog post on something, and then you're like, oh, that's not long enough, and hit enter, and it just adds like another 3 paragraphs to it. Like it's pretty good. There's definitely some mistakes, like grammatical stuff that you have to fix and certain things like that, but it is good.
Yeah, this stuff is.
But it's also filling a space where, like, so for example, in our spot, there's not a lot of copywriters out there now. Like, it's just not as popular of a thing. So, like, to hire a copywriter where we're at, it is not a very common position. So, like, we'd either have to do it over the internet, like get somebody, or we could try to use this. So I've been trying to use this more often to see if I can, lessen the load of me actually having to sit there and write things.
Yeah, if you could just be an editor instead of a writer and editor.
So like for example, one of the other people there would write an article for our newsletter, right, every month, and they take them like, I don't know, probably 4 hours to write the article and like get it all set. And like I did ours in like an hour this last month. So I was able to prompt it, read it, change everything, make it more coherent in like a fourth of the time.
Yeah. And that's, I think the big takeaway is it's kind of making less work, but like in order to figure out how to use it to do the work for me on this episode, like I had to actually sit down and figure it out. Like I had to do the initial work, and then I could feed it something that it could work with.
Here's the thing. There's still people in the general population that don't understand how search engines work properly.
Yeah, like, I know.
Before it's a problem, there has to be so much education on the platform before like your everyday people can use it. Yeah, I mean, sure, there's going to be people that are already advanced and smart that could take advantage, but your everyday person isn't going to be anywhere near that.
Yeah, and I think that again comes back to the parallel with automation. People thought that you could just set a robot and build a whole car. But like there's like 5 people who are in charge of programming that robot who, and that robot will do exactly what they tell them to do. So if you're not competent doing that, then that robot's going to fuck up more than any single pair of hands could.
Yep.
So it's
just change the job, interesting. Didn't eliminate it.
Yeah. And I understand, like I'm guilty of this too, right? Like I had my whole spiel about the self-checkout things, like taking people's jobs, but that's just another automation, and it's not really going to be as big a deal in the end as it seems like in the moment. It all just feels like a moral panic, which I try to avoid indulging myself in.
It's hard to, though.
It is hard to. Yeah.
It's just that rabbit hole. It's always there.
It's always there, especially AI.
Yep.
And then there's the like real sticklers who are like, it's not AI, it's just machine learning. It's like, okay, that's a
reach.
That's a very nerdy distinction to make.
Yeah.
Like, yes, machine learning is just taking a lot of knowledge and spitting that knowledge back out. And something like ChatGPT is more like an actual AI because it can do specific things. But like, yeah, it's an interesting field to keep an eye on, I think. Yeah, I will be keeping an eye on it.
100% agree with that.
All right, that's all I got though. So, what you got?
That was quite the loose end.
Yeah,
this
the
week,
loose end was my actual topic.
Yeah, this week I decided to choose the word optic.
Just talking about lenses,
Yeah.
Galileo and Niels
Glasses.
Bohr. Niels Bohr wasn't an astronomer. What am I talking about? Tycho Brahe.
No, of course, I'm a big Call of Duty video game nerd, and first thing that comes to my mind is optic gaming. So I thought it would be nice to have a nice little discussion about esports and where they're going, the differences we can see in models and approaches that they're taking versus traditional sports, and where we see them intertwining. So
okay,
take for example, the Call of Duty has been had a competitive scene basically since like 2005, 2004, back with Call of Duty 2. But it really started to take off in like 2007, 2008 with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, specifically just because it was more accessible and much more people had access to it. So now fast forward or rewind, I guess technically 3 years from today, and they started the CDL, the Call of Duty League, and it is set up similar to like the NFL or the NBA, where there's teams and they represent cities across the country or across the globe. And I'm wondering if you can see any problems or any benefit to that from the outside, since you don't necessarily have as much of a connection to them to know specifically.
Problems with what specifically?
Like that model working in the esports and video game sector.
Like a world tour.
Well, like city-based teams and like leagues that are limited to, 16 teams allowed in the league. That style of stuff.
I don't know if it's a problem. It seems weird that there's not like an age gate the way that professional sports leagues have them. Like you have to go through at least high school, usually college, and then you go and do a draft, and then you're required to relocate.
Yep. So
for esports, it feels like at any point you can sign with a team and have to relocate.
Well, I mean, most of them you do have to be 18.
Okay.
You could be signed, I guess, technically to an organization at 13, but you can't compete in like any of the leagues before 18.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
So that was kind of where I was going, because you kind of hit the nail on the head. We're seeing this as a kind of what I consider the downfall of the Call of Duty competitive scene. So we have the CDL, and there's currently 12 teams, right? 12 different cities are represented across it. Which at first I was like, okay, that's cool. However, it's there's 4-man teams, which means that there's only a possibility of 48 players around the globe to be in there. Okay, so that already limits it. So then there's the challenger scene, which is supposed to be, where the talent
like farm teams.
Yes, but the problem is there's no support for it in comparison. So like your challengers team for the NFL would be NCAA college football. You know what I mean? There's a place for them to go. There's a track for them to take to get to the league. And there's a draft every year that those players have a possibility of getting taken from to go to these teams. So with the way the esports is set up, there's no draft. Like that team is locked until they decide that they need to make a change because they're not winning or somebody retires. So those spots don't become available. And it's not like sports where you need to have backups because people need a break or people get injured. Like those 48 spots are locked unless they deem that they need to make a change. So you're limiting the amount of people even possible to take part in your league. So I see that as a huge problem. Mm-hmm. There's no clear path to get into the league, which I think deters a lot of people.
There almost needs to be a draft where there's constant new talent coming in, right? Like
I would agree, and that's what Challengers is. The problem is they're expecting these people that are 18 to 20 years old to sit at home and compete in these online tournaments and stuff and challenge other teams and scrim to get better, to get noticed, to possibly be picked up for no money.
For no money, yeah.
And that only works, or it doesn't
no
even
clear path.
Didn't technically work even then, because now we have player incentives and stuff. But it only worked previously in sports because they had scholarships to pay for everything.
Yeah, right.
You know, all these pro athletes were on scholarship. They weren't paying for school and room and board. Like these.
Yeah, there's at least a clear path. You can apply for the draft. You don't just show up outside the stadium and hope that they notice you.
Yeah. So, I mean, these people are sitting at home playing 8 to 14 hours a day in hopes that somebody in the league in one of those 48 spots will do shitty enough that the team is willing to take a chance on them and give the league minimum, which the league minimum salary is $50,000. So, like, they're hoping to go from sitting at home in their parents' basement, for lack of better analogy, to a $50,000 job, which, I mean, isn't terrible, but to sacrifice everything to just go to 50K is a real fucking big risk.
Is that 50K like plus travel and stipend, and is all of that stuff coming out of your 50K?
They'll help you move. I'm sure they'll help you relocate, but no, like, I'm sure you're probably
you have
still
to
paying
travel
your
to
rent.
Other events, right? Like,
that's all paid.
Is the team paying for that? Okay,
the team's paying for that, and I'm sure they'll pay to relocate you, but like, you probably still have to pay your own rent and all of that stuff. And like, that's the thing too, they're not living in rural America. Like, the teams are LA, Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, Chicago, Austin, New York City.
Seems weird.
Boston.
Yeah.
So, like, they're expensive.
Feels like there's growing pains.
Tons of growing pains.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I'm familiar with like a different side of the esports, but who is putting on this tour?
The CDL, Activision Blizzard.
It's Activision Blizzard. It's the actual developer, publisher, whatever.
This is a $300 million league. So each team was required to pay a buy-in of $25 million. There's 12 teams.
Jesus.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay.
And then the players make anywhere, I think, so minimum salary we know is $50K. I think the top paid person we know in the league is $450,000 a year.
Okay, that's a professional athlete salary.
Yeah, and they're not making they're not drawing the same crowd that they used to. It's bigger now. So the first 2 years of the league, they had signed a contract with YouTube, right, to stream only the events and stuff were only streamed on YouTube. The problem is nobody watches live streams on YouTube. Like, very in comparison, Twitch still reigns supreme. Now, do I think that YouTube will eventually overtake that? Probably. There's just more upside. They seem to be able to make more changes more quickly, and they have more discoverability because there's other content on the platform that can direct people to them. From what
I understand, the video on YouTube live streaming is better. The chat is absolute ass.
Oh, horrible. The community. So the capability as a streamer has a much bigger upside because you can stream at 4K. It automatically saves all your video there, and you can download it, so you no longer need to record to your computer at the same time. So like say Courage, that's for huge. Example, he can go live and stream, right? And then his editor can just log in and download his streams and clip out all the stuff he needs instead of him having to record and stream at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's a huge benefit. You can stream it in 4K at above a 6,000 bit rate, which is big. And you have the ability for people to choose, different settings of bitrate based on their internet speed. That was kind of locked before on Twitch, behind like certain partners having it. But the community interaction and the chat experience on YouTube is horrendous. You just don't have it doesn't have the same feel. Not having all those emotes and stuff, like, people think it's trivial and silly, but like building a community, those are huge. Like, you got people that have been part of communities. Like, he doesn't really stream anymore, but like, I was subscribed and part of a community for a streamer named Adrian for 7 years. And like, so I knew a ton of people in that chat. They see my name, they're in there, I'm interacting with them. Like, we all, I have the badges to show that I've been in there for such a long time, and like there's that sense of community, and that's just missing from YouTube. Just isn't there
There's
yet.
those people who have whatever that plugin or something where they could use
better
Twitch
TV.
emotes. Well, they could use Twitch emotes just like anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe it's Discord emotes, whatever the like colon 4 numbers colon is. I see people just like use those in the wild. And I'm like, what the hell do these even mean? Because people are running something that will like decode and put an image corresponding to that up. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's huge cultural shifts that have happened on Twitch that just haven't made their way to YouTube yet. And that's holding them back. So I mean, Call of Duty is already like your typical meathead video game.
Sure.
Like that's the, the correlation that it gets. So like most of your like hardcore gaming people are still on Twitch. They're not on YouTube. So there was like no viewership for like the first 2 years. It was horrible.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, there used to be like, they'd have a tournament. So it was kind of different previously. Before the league started, there was just like every few months there was a big tournament. Yeah. And during
like Evo or whatever.
Yeah. There would be like on a Sunday grand finals match on Twitch, you'd have like 400,000 people watching. And I think up to, last year, I think the highest I ever saw on YouTube was like 110,000. But their contract ended and they went back to Twitch this year. So we'll see how that goes. Now, granted, the game is in the worst state that it's ever been. I mean, it's fucking horrible.
Hell yeah.
But it's just interesting to see like these choices that they're making. And
yeah,
they take this. My thing is, I just find it interesting that they take the step to try to be more like a league. And I think that they thought that, they do that to create fandom because it's like, well, I got to root for my home team. Like it becomes a thing where like you expect everybody in that area to root for those teams, and it to become more of like a local cultural thing. However,
I don't know about that.
Huh?
I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
I think it will. I think it could down the line, but I just think we're way too early in it.
Yeah, sure.
You got to think like all of the people that are really like diehard watching it now started to watch it before it was a thing. So like they're fans of teams because they're fans of teams, not because of where they lived. So like,
right,
it's gonna have to for you to start filling in a local location with fans. It's gonna take time and like for generations of people to start. You look, say 10 people in that area grow up liking a specific team, and they grow up and then they have 4 kids each, and those 4 kids start liking that. Like it's going to take time to spread, whereas like when you weren't locked to a region and wanting people to start rooting for their home team, organically teams grow based on notoriety and exposure. So like OPTIC is the biggest in Call of Duty as far as exposure goes, because they produce the most content, which I think is the big miss. They see this league as like a sporting league, but they are, but it's only on the precipice, on the cuff of content. If they don't produce content to keep people engaged, it's just not enough. They're not big enough at scale yet. Like they want to be the NFL and stuff. The NFL has 100 years of of time to grow. Like
50.
Yeah, 50 since it combined, but I mean we had the National League and before that. So like there's been like organized football with teams for, at least 70 years, call it.
Yep. Yeah, there's all sorts of issues with esports. The reason that I asked who puts on this league is because the area that I'm familiar with is fighting games, and like and Nintendo as Melee in particular, or Super Smash Brothers. And let me just start that whole shit over again. Holy shit. I'm more familiar with fighting games and Super Smash Brothers in particular. And Nintendo is like actively hostile toward their competitive scene to the point where this past month or so, they've been dealing with this one organization that created a world tour, they called it, because the way that Smash works is there's a bunch of local tournaments.
Yeah.
So this one organization was like, let's do like a tour. We'll contract with these local tournaments and make there be like a qualifying, and it all culminates in a world tour. So you could crown a world champion based on seeding and everything throughout the whole year, ranks and all that.
Yeah.
Not just like some fan site, but like an actual codified thing. And another company sprung up, Panda Gaming, and they were like, okay, we're going to do like the same thing, but they had people sign non-competition clauses, so you could be part of one tour but not the other. And like that made some enemies, and then they started courting Nintendo themselves, and Nintendo granted them a license and then told the other organization like the days of non-licensed tournaments are over.
So like, basically they became greedy and then fucked everyone.
Yes, exactly. And that it was particularly one person at Panda, that the CEO and owner at the time, he's now been ousted, and they lost 80% of their company, including almost all of their talent.
Yeah.
Because the community response in Smash Brothers is just so strong.
Yeah.
But it's like, but Nintendo is like actively hostile. Like it wasn't Panda's fault, the company. It wasn't their fault.
CEO's fault.
They were doing what it wasn't even his fault, to be completely honest. Like he was doing what he thought that he needed to do to court Nintendo. Nintendo has been actively hostile toward their competitive community for years. Melee has been an active competitive game. One game, not a series like Call of Duty. One single game has been competitive for almost 20 years now. And Nintendo fucking hates it for some reason.
Yeah. Because competitive games don't make them money.
It could, though, if they licensed it and actually like went to these, events. They don't have to license every single one of them. These companies apply for licenses, and then they pay licensing fees to Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't have to do anything. These people organize the tournaments on their own.
Yeah.
Nintendo could just start making money and just not actively harm this community, and they just don't want to do it for some reason. It's so weird.
But that's another butts.
Yeah, I know. Nintendo fucking sucks, like more and more and more. But that's another growing pain for esports, isn't it? Like these companies who are actively discouraging that, or who are trying to encourage it and just doing it wrong. It's like there's a lot of stuff still to figure out. We think we're in it, so we think it's been going for a while now. 10 years, whatever.
It's nothing.
But that's hardly enough time to even start figuring this stuff out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that all this stuff can survive to the point where, you're in a city and you follow a team, and hopefully if South Korea is any indicator, we will get there eventually.
Yeah. See, I think the biggest thing that like differentiates us from the like major sports stuff, nobody owns soccer. Nobody owns football.
Yeah, right.
Like
right. It's not IP.
It's not an IP. It's just a game that everyone knows. Mm-hmm. Whereas these esports, like companies own the rights to the games, and if they want to stop you from doing stuff, they just can. Yeah,
and they have a vested interest in doing that, because if you don't protect your IP, you lose it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all weird and difficult. It's going to be interesting, the first billionaire to like actually put money down and be like, this is a public domain competitive video game.
Well, I think we may see it quicker than you think.
Yeah.
So Nate Shot at 100 Thieves, they're working on their own game right now.
Okay.
And Dr. Disrespect is working on one as well. And he actually, I don't know if you remember him at all.
Yeah.
You remember Robert Bowling at all?
No.
His name was 402 on Twitter. Back in the day, he was the community manager for COD 4. He is one of the co-founders for this game with Dr. Disrespect.
Okay.
So like he's been in the thick of stuff for 20 years. And
I haven't followed this game in a little bit.
I haven't looked at anything on it other than like the very initial stuff.
Yeah, the last thing that I heard about it was that they were planning on integrating NFTs.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same style of like NFT, like the bad art NFT. I think it's going to be more utility stuff. So like,
yeah,
when you own a skin in the game, it'll mean something outside of the game. So like, rather than just $20 thing being a $20 in-game skin, there'll be value behind it.
I know.
The same way like Counter-Strike's been doing NFTs for years, basically. Like these specific skins only specific to certain tournaments or a certain team during this certain time period and stuff. I mean, they just had a singular Counter-Strike skin go up on auction for $564,000.
Yeah, but that thing doesn't have value outside of Counter-Strike.
No, not that one doesn't, but that's what I'm saying. They've been doing it.
I think that's
with that. These ones are going to implement outside value, which I think is good. I think rather than it just being a digital item with no value outside of that game, I think them implementing some value outside of it could be a good thing. Now, I don't know for sure, and I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but that part doesn't bother me.
I'm trying real hard to keep an open mind about NFTs, but it's every time I'm like, this shit sucks.
I mean, if it's just a skin and they take away the word NFT, then
yeah, exactly,
you're fine with it. So like,
absolutely.
You're over. I think people get caught up with it because of the term that they're putting around it. It's just a skin.
Well,
that may have other utility behind it.
I get that take. That's not my particular gripe with it. An NFT implicitly implies that it's a part of like cryptocurrency. It's on a blockchain, and that somehow makes it more real, more cogent than just a skin in a game. But at the end of the day, like, it's just a skin in the game, whether it's on the blockchain or not, because you're never going to be able to take it and use it somewhere else unless that same code base exists in that other place.
Which it will.
I don't know.
It will.
That doesn't ever seem like
it's all the infrastructure they're building right now with Web3.
But I mean, I guess I just don't.
You will be able to have an NFT wallet on your phone and walk in and scan your phone on the thing, and it'll read that NFT and read that token and show that you own that thing and let you in somewhere. But
that's the bullshit that just happened with FTX. Once you do that, once you have a centralized system where you could use NFTs and cryptos in a centralized space, then it completely eliminates any actual use cases for the crypto that has specific use cases. Like, the technology inherent in cryptocurrency does specific things, but once you centralize it all loses all meaning.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're getting more away from crypto and just having utility.
But that's my whole issue with it, is that NFTs are inherently crypto. And when they're talking about using NFTs for in-game skins so that you can take to other games and use, it's all just nonsense. I will be interested. My whole point in bringing this up is that I will be interested and excited to see how this game goes if they drop that gimmick.
Yeah, I don't know if they
Robert Bowling and Dr. Disrespect as like game creators, I respect the hell out of them. They can make the hell out of a game, and I'm sure they will, if they don't try to do some nonsense like that that's just going to take up extra bandwidth from their development team. But yeah. I'm not an insider or anything.
I think it's more along the lines of like, so right now the way they used them is like your early access token, right? So like the people that have an NFT, an early access token, which is transferable. They could sell it to somebody down the road. They don't just buy it. Like, you don't just buy it and that's it. Like, you're supporting it. Like, that you are basically a founder of the game at a certain point. Like, there's different packages. And I think like that's the utility that they've done now. I don't know what else they're going to do with it, but I'm less afraid of that about that stuff. I'm excited to see what they can bring with it, because the NFT that everybody was freaking out about is dead. It's already gone. I mean, the Bored Apes and stuff that people are paying $2 million for are selling for like $17K now.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I mean, all of that was just pump and dumps. I'm not talking about like a NFT art. Like I understand that was just
utility's utility. I'm excited to see what they can do with it. It's all about application and what people bring with it.
I'm interested in NFTs. The utility sounds interesting. I've just never seen an application that couldn't be solved by just coding something that's not on the blockchain. That's all. It's all just like a buzzword, and it feels like a carrot on a stick for people who
Well, I think
too much money, have more money than sense.
Well, no, I think the differentiating factor here is if it's coded and it's done and the problem solved within the company, then they still own it. Like they still control what you can do with it. So like say for example, H1Z1, like you used to be able, you could trade skins when the game first came out, and then they took away your ability to sell skins on Steam.
Okay.
If it was a NFT and the token and everything and owning that thing was off of Steam and it was out of the control of the H1Z1 developers, they don't have control over you selling it.
Okay.
So that they functionally took the ability for us to get like I had take for example, I know somebody that had a skin that was selling for $400 and they didn't sell it before they took the ability away. So like they lost the ability to sell that skin for the market value of $400. Okay. Just because the company decided to turn it off.
Counterpoint. If it were an NFT and they could still sell it afterwards, H1Z1 could just code in that those don't work in the game anymore and it's just as useless.
Yeah, but I think there'll be binding contracts on both sides. That's what I'm thinking. I think that they're going to, it'll be written into like legal contract and stuff that stops the company from doing that. That's the only way that works, and I think that's how they'll do it. I don't know. I won't know for sure, but that's how I see it happening.
Yeah.
Do I think bigger companies will adopt that anytime soon? Absolutely not, because it leaves them too vulnerable to be exploited by people that actually know what they're doing. But I think companies that start out that way will be able to make some interesting pushes.
Yeah.
Well, we won't really know until we see like a real use case like out there and for the general public to tread the waters in.
It feels like I just been dunking on it all the time. I'm like an optimistic critic of NFTs. If there is a actual use case, like I will celebrate it and I will, get in it. But like I have not seen anything, not even really an idea that has really convinced me that they could work.
I mean, they already are. The VCon, the VFriends NFTs already are working. I mean, he's already had, like, this coming year will be his third VCon, where only the people that bought the initial VFriends NFTs are able to attend the conference. Like, that's their digital ticket to the conference. As long as they have it, they can get in. They don't have to pay for a ticket every year. They could sell it if they want to.
Okay, so the Buffalo Bills this year announced a new way of selling season tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to buy a personal seat license.
Oh, yeah, PSL.
Yeah, no, not a pumpkin spice latte, Josh.
Yeah.
Talking about the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so yeah, that gives you the opportunity to buy season tickets in the future, right?
Uh-huh.
How is that any different than an NFT? How is that any different than the VFriends NFT that he has? You own that license, you can sell it.
Because that license is just paper right now.
Okay.
Whereas the other one isn't. And they still get, I don't know how the contract works, but like say you sell that VFriend thing, Gary V still gets 10% of whatever you sell it for. This is written into the utility of the contract. So you make
until
royalties
someone splits the branch, right?
No, forever for eternity. Any sale that happens of said item, he gets a royalty for.
Yeah, that has to be like bulletproof coding in order to make that work, though, right? Because otherwise, someone could just change that code and split the branch, and then it's useless.
I mean, you'd have to remove it from the blockchain completely.
Yeah. No, you split the blockchain. That's why Bitcoin Lite and Bitcoin something else exist. It's because people have attacked the Bitcoin chain and split it, so that there's 3 equally verified blockchain blockchains for Bitcoin. That could happen with any cryptocurrency. And if you change the code for that smart contract and split the chain with a powerful enough attack, then it becomes useless once again.
I don't know. That's above my knowledge level. I'll leave that to the people that are designing it, not whatever hearsay.
I've been like really interested because I actually am excited for this stuff. If somebody can implement it in a real way that actually works, I'm very excited for it. So I'm paying attention. I'm like learning all I can about it. But
it seems like you're like so apprehensive you look for negativity rather than just waiting to see what happens.
But that is waiting to see what happens. People have waited to see what happens with Bitcoin, which is considered the most codified blockchain tech out there, and it's split 3 times. Like, it's weird cases like that make me apprehensive about this stuff. It's not that I don't believe that stuff could happen. If we could write smart contracts that would guarantee this stuff happens in the future, that would be great. But a smart contract is just code that can be altered.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me apprehensive about it, especially because it's all open source and it has to be by definition. Like it's vulnerable. It's so vulnerable to attacks that I don't see it ever truly working out, because as soon as it starts to work out, someone's going to attack it and it's going to fail.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. That's far above my knowledge.
Sorry. I'm very interested in this topic. I could talk about it for days, I think.
Yeah, I'm not I just see what's possible and I'll wait for it to get there.
I would love to see it. Truly.
I don't know. I have faith in it working if there's certain people that are investing into it.
Yeah. How much did I derail you? We're talking about esports, right?
Yeah, I mean, not too much. I mean, we were talking about Dr. Disrespect's game, but
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, with him and like Nadeshot owning their own game, I could see it. I could see that happening, because like they're never going to stop people from hosting tournaments.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, like they will never stop that from happening. So I think that's a step in the right direction. It's kind of like the same thing with like music artists no longer signing to labels and doing everything independent. The video game like companies are the music industry labels. Like they are just these like, you know, Activision is a video game label, and they're just holding on for dear life to stay relevant.
Yeah, they are. I cannot believe, man, that company. I can't believe they're still around.
Company is full of shitbags.
Yeah, especially like integrating Blizzard into them, like should have made them worse, and it did, and it doesn't matter.
So mad that they're blocking Microsoft from purchasing them. I feel like that there could have been hope there. Oh yeah, it's lesser of two evils.
Yeah, that is definitely up for debate. What is the lesser of two evils? There is market consolidation the lesser of two evils, or is a machine that a terrible machine that has a ton of momentum worse?
Well, here's the thing: is like Microsoft was willing to sign stuff saying that they wouldn't make things like Microsoft or Xbox exclusive. And Sony still didn't want them to do it. So the SEC is still pushing against it.
They were willing to do that on a time limit.
Oh, I'm
sure. Not in perpetuity. If they signed them in perpetuity, that would be fine. But they were like giving 5 years? And then
I don't know. I didn't look into it.
It's the same
specific numbers.
It's essentially the same thing that they did with their Bethesda acquisition. They said all Bethesda games currently in development will not be Microsoft exclusives, but that's all they said. There's Bethesda games that are in development.
It wouldn't make sense for them to do exclusivity. I think we're going to see more and more of that go away, except for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because you don't make money on consoles. You make money on sales of games and people making transactions within your game. So the more people that you can put the game in their hands, the better for you. And we saw that with Fortnite. So it's stupid for companies to stick to that. They got to be in our platform, in our ecosystem. Well, then we just won't fucking play your game, which is why we see everything going to mobile, coming to all these different ways for crossplay to happen. Because they realize when you try to just filter people out and stick them into your ecosystem, you're cutting your audience in a third. It just makes no sense. Like you're literally limiting yourself to make money, not making more.
Yeah, but you got to remember that it's still old money in charge.
Yeah,
they don't think that way. It's market share. It's cornering the market. It's as great as who's the CEO of Microsoft that's doing all the Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
Is that him? As great as Jeff Keighley seems like, he's still old money. He's still trying to corner the market. He's got a great PR team, but I don't believe for a second that he isn't trying to just make Microsoft the game company.
I mean, they got a lot of shoes to fight against.
Yeah, there's always going to be
if they don't buy it. If they don't buy it, Amazon Games will buy it.
Which would be
Activision. If Activision's up for sale, somebody's buying it.
That's fine. I don't think the issue isn't that Activision is for sale. The issue is that Microsoft is trying to buy
platform.
them, and
they own their own
Microsoft.
Platform.
Yeah, they will lock it into their own platform. And frankly, the rate at which they're consolidating the market is frightening. Like, to buy Bethesda and Mojang and all these companies that they have been buying up over the past 7 years or so, like, it's getting dangerous, especially in a market that's growing at the rate that games still is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm fine with them not letting them sell it to them as long as they don't let it go to somebody else. I'd be fine with it going to Amazon, actually. But if they let it go through to Sony or something, I'm not.
Oh, no. None of the big players should be allowed. If Microsoft can't, then Sony can't. If Valve wants to buy them, I'd be okay with that. Anybody other than the big two console makers,
Yeah.
Actually, that would be very interesting if Valve bought them, but Valve doesn't make video games anymore. So
that won't happen. Valve is just a platform. They retired from anything interesting.
Steam Deck still looks cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just get the LG one at this point, or Logitech one, whoever makes that new one that just came out.
The Logitech one's not the same thing. The Logitech one is just a cloud gaming console. So you either have to subscribe to NVIDIA now, or Google Stadia is gone.
Yeah,
you have to subscribe to something, or you have to have a capable machine to stream it to the thing. The whole thing with the Steam Deck is that you can play it locally.
Yeah.
And that's the incredible thing about it.
Yeah. I get the allure for some people. I'm just not a mobile game person at all.
Well, it's not. That's the thing, though. It's not mobile games. It's your desktop.
It's a desktop game in a mobile format.
Imagine playing New World.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it.
No, I understand
I like
that,
mouse
but this
and keyboard. I don't want the controller feel of it. I understand. It's just not for me.
Yeah, sure.
It's just not.
But I think that's the thing. Is yes, there are great streaming things. I mean, there always have been. The NVIDIA Shield. Apparently, people love it. Like, it was always good, but nobody bought it. And handheld gaming, didn't really hit mainstream until the Steam Deck.
I want to see somebody make a glove that goes on your right hand that follows motion and can tell when you're clicking and when you're moving, and that is your mouse. And then I want the glove on your left hand has a contraption that comes up and over and projects a keyboard down onto the whatever surface you're on, and it can tell where your hand is. Allows you to type and use mouse and keyboard anywhere.
That may exist. I
don't know. That'd be really cool, though. Imagine you just go to your parents and you have an iPad and you just or something of that. You just put on your gloves and you're just sitting at the table playing a game on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just I'm a anti-controller boomer now. Not I'm against them. I just fucking suck with them now comparatively.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't it's like, what's the point that I want to make about controllers? Controllers have their place.
Oh, 100%.
Not for the games that you play.
No.
That's the whole point, I think. Mm-hmm. Is that the games that you're playing are not
controller
for
games.
Controller.
Not at all.
Even some of the games that I play, like Celeste. I started like near the end of when I was playing Celeste, I stopped using the controller for movement. I started using WASD and using I was using my keyboard and a controller for that game.
That's really weird.
It is really weird, but it worked so good. But yeah,
the system.
I mean, I didn't come up with it. I watched the world's first deathless run of that game, and that's the way that guy played it. And I was like, yeah, easier. I do. Like, it's great to be able, especially in that game, to be locked into the orthogonal motion. You know, just the 8 directions. To be locked into that is exactly what you want for that game.
Yeah.
But that's not for, every game.
No.
That's where controllers work well.
Agreed. Well, I think that'll about wrap up our talk this week. I don't have another loose end, and I think that's fine because we just had a loose end topic basically at the end of our topic anyway.
Yeah, I know. Or in the middle, whatever.
Yeah. So, without further ado, take us to the intro.
Get on out of here. Thank you and congratulations for making it to the end of this episode of Cord on the Street. We have been your hosts, Vince and Josh. You can find us on our socials. You can find us on Twitter at Cord on the Street, QUORD on the ST. If you're listening to us on YouTube /Cord on the Street, go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you're listening to us, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you can leave a review, please leave us a review. If you tell us what we can do worse, I promise I will read it on the podcast unless it's just too mean.
If you have any need to contact us in a longer format, you can email us at cordonthestreet@gmail.com, or you can visit us on our website, cordonthestreet.xyz. Feel free to leave us a voice message on there. If you want to reach out to us individually, you can get a hold of us at our personal Twitters. Mine is at I'm Scuzzy, IMSKUZZEY.
And I am at V_C, spell out the underscore. We would finally like to acknowledge the people that made this podcast happen. Josh Wardle, who is the original creator of Wordle.
And Freddie Meyer, the creator of Quordle, who you can find on Twitter at Quordle.
And with that, we will just ask you, as always, to
get the cord out.